Well, it's called the internet, and it's completely revolutionized the way we live and access vital information.
Surely I don't need to tell you, you're on the internet.
Are you confused?
And if you don't know this, you've got bigger problems.
Are you stupid or something?
We live in the digital age, and whether we know it or not, we're constantly sharing our lives with everyone around the world. Today I want to get real with you and ask you a crucial question. Have you ever stopped to think about who is lurking in the shadows, trying to get their hands on your information? Yeah, it's a scary thought, and it should be, because your personal information is available online 24/7, including your full name, email address, phone numbers, addresses, siblings and family members, and even your financial information. In the wrong hands, you lose your identity, money, and eventually, everything. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, now there's chatbots, deepfakes, and automated hacking programs. Watch this video when you're done here. You'll be surprised what you see. Imagine logging into your computer and being notified you were hacked. All of your sensitive account data was compromised and in the hands of anonymous hackers. This cyber attack in question sent shockwaves through the digital world and chills down the spines of their victims. The Yahoo data breach was discovered in late 2016, but the crazy thing is, these attacks began sometime in 2014. Hackers managed to infiltrate the company's systems, stealing personal information from over 3 billion users. Soon, rumors began to fester in the darkest corners of the internet. Rumors of a group of Russian hackers that were responsible. But was it really a rumor? Or was this one of those special occasions where the rumors were the truth? 3 years after the breach took place, the FBI charged 4 men, 2 that worked for Russian Federal Security Services, and 2 hired hackers. The 4 men charged were Alexei Balan, a hacker on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list, Russian security agents Dmitry Dokochayev and Igor Suschin, who the FBI accused of paying Bilan and Canadian hacker Karim Baratov to use data obtained by the Yahoo breaches in order to breach into 80 non-Yahoo accounts that were specifically targeted. Yahoo's internal review found that CEO Marissa Mayer and other executives knew about the intrusions, but failed to inform the company or to prevent further breaches. This review led to the resignation of the company's principal lawyer, Ronald Bell, at the time the charges were set against the Russian agents. Just 2 months after the hacks against Yahoo around May 2017, another breach occurred. Ever heard of Equifax? It's a national credit bureau, meaning it stores your most personal data, like social security numbers, job history, and all open and closed lines of credit. With this information, anyone could easily assume your identity and take out any number of loans on your behalf.
I was just searching you on the internet and you're famous.
Sometime between May and June 2017, 148 million Americans, 15 million British citizens, and around 19,000 Canadian citizens lost their social security numbers. Take a moment and allow that to sink in. The current US population is 331 million. 148 million Americans lost their privacy. The attackers had used a vulnerability in the company's web application to gain access. It was a brazen and audacious attack. For some, the consequences of the breach were immediate. They were unable to access credits or loans, and of course had to endure the frustration of trying to clear and reclaim their identities, and to begin putting the pieces back together. Have you ever used Uber for a ride? Well, imagine this. You take an Uber to a cafe, and while sitting there sipping on your latte, you get a notification that Uber was hacked, and every bit of information from your account had been deleted and copied to the hacker's personal files. But here's what you didn't know about the hack. This all started when a 20-year-old Florida man and a 21-year-old man from Canada decided to hack Uber. After finally breaking through Uber's defenses, they began to sift through a massive trove of personal information, savoring the power that they held in their hands.
Excellent.
They reveled in the knowledge that they could use this data to extort money from Uber or sell it on the black market for a hefty sum. For months, they managed to keep their activities hidden from Uber's security team, but eventually the truth came to light. Uber executives discovered the data breach and quickly realized the severity of this situation. Ah, yes, finally, a company did the right thing and reported the problem immediately. Wrong. Instead of reporting the breach to the authorities and their customers, Uber executives made the fateful decision to cover it up. They paid the hackers a ransom of $100,000 to keep quiet about the breach, to avoid all public scrutiny and legal consequences. Uber paid the hackers ransom to shut their traps. The payment was confirmed in a statement issued by Uber in November of 2017. At the end of the day, Uber put their faith in the high moral standards of the hackers and trusted their words that they would delete all of the personal data. Do you really believe that they did? Yes, hacking affects our privacy. We've heard this time and time again. But what about when a breach decides the fate of a superpower country, and when it happens right under our noses and we are oblivious to it all? Cambridge Analytica gained access to the personal information of millions of users without their consent. It had one purpose: to invade the political realm. In March of 2018, news of the attack swept the nation. And this wasn't an attack against just any website. This data was stolen from the infamous and ever-prevalent Facebook. Privacy concerns? Not quite. It was discovered that Cambridge Analytica had used the stolen data to target political ads to specific groups in an effort to sway the 2016 US presidential election in favor of Donald Trump. The revelation sent shockwaves through the political world and raised serious questions about the integrity of the democratic process. How did Cambridge Analytica obtain this information? It all began years earlier, in 2013. Cambridge Analytica obtained this information through a third-party app called This Is Your Digital Life. The app was created by a researcher named Alexander Kogan, who gained access to the data through Facebook. Kogan then shared everything with Cambridge Analytica, who used it to create psychographic profiles of Facebook users. But here is where it gets exciting. The Guardian reported that Kogan received funding from the Russian government to research social media networks, and that he had close ties to St. Petersburg State University of Russia. The newspaper also reported that Kogan had previously worked on a research project that involved collecting data on American Twitter users, and that this project had also been funded in part by the Russian government. Kogan has denied these allegations and claimed they were never independently verified. The Guardian has stood firm by its reporting, stating that it conducted a thorough investigation and it followed standard journalistic practices in its reporting on Kogan's alleged ties to Russian intelligence. From Facebook to swaying elections to a Russian spy. People say it's a coincidence, but is it really?
Did you do it?
A message appeared on the computers at Sony's corporate office. We've obtained all your internal data, including your secrets and top secrets. If you don't obey us, we'll release the data as shown below to the world. Sony had officially been hacked.
According to Intel, Picasso, Sony, Armani, Rolex.
The hackers infiltrated Sony's systems, stealing and leaking a massive amount of sensitive information, including confidential employee data, unreleased films, and even email exchanges between top executives. The hack began with a cryptic message from an unknown group calling themselves the Guardians of Peace. The message demanded that Sony Pictures not release a movie called The Interview, which is a satirical comedy about the assassination of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The impact of the attack was significant. Sony was forced to cancel the planned release of The Interview and suffered an estimated $100 million in damages. Not to mention the cost felt by the thousands of employees who lost their personal information, including their social security numbers, dates of birth, and even their salary details were exposed. So this leads us to a question. If they can hack into entertainment industries, causing multi-million-dollar losses and delay or even cancel film releases just because they don't want a movie shown to the public, what else are they capable of? You've probably stayed at a Starwood or any hotel at some point in your life. Naturally, you give the needed information at check-in. It seems innocent enough, right? The international data breach of 2018 was a chilling reminder of the power of cyber criminals and the importance of data security. It was the most significant data breach in history, affecting over 500 million guests who stayed at a Marriott Starwood hotel. 500 million. More than the entire population of the United States. It's also more than the whole population of the European Union, which is approximately 447 million people. The violation was first detected in September of 2018, when Marriott announced that unauthorized parties had access to the Starwood guest reservation database. It was later revealed that the attackers had been infiltrating the system since 2014, stealing personal information like names, phone numbers, email addresses, and passport numbers. Curious, in 2015 it was announced that Starwood would be acquired by Marriott International. The hotel chain was recently fined nearly $24 million in penalties as a result of the data breach. This is just the beginning of the problems for Marriott. What do you think? Should we do a story on them? It's a game of chess. They're constantly trying to outmaneuver us, outthink us, and always be one step ahead. It's a game of strategy and wit, and we need to be ready to adapt to new threats at any moment. Thanks for watching this one. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out, and also check out these videos next.